Welcome to Metaphysical Soul Speak. I'm your host, Elena Fox Starks. Hey guys, I hope you're doing really well in this moment in time. And that whenever and wherever you happen to be on this jaunty journey of souls that we're all on right now, that you are able to decipher all of the signals, all of the signs of where your anxiety is coming from. Now, a lot of you are empaths and you feel your own feelings and you feel your friends and family's feelings, your neighborhood feelings, sometimes the whole neighborhood. Maybe it's just the neighbors next door. Sometimes it's everybody. If everyone's feeling anxious, like for example, if you were all in a situation where you just had an earthquake, you might feel everybody's emotions. And sometimes it's just your next door neighbor. You know, maybe one of them's having a hard time with their spouse or whatever, and you'll feel that. But something came to me, it happened to me last night, that made me think, I better mention this to you guys. Because we're all on this path together, we're all on this journey together. You might be ahead of me on the path, you might be behind me on the path. But I've been on the spiritual journey since I was awakened, first in 1987. But I've been on a spiritual path without really being awake and not really knowing what was happening since I was pretty much a baby in this life. I have had a lot of experiences, and I've also attended mystery schools. So I've had formal experiences as well as experiences that just randomly happened. What happened last night, or at least what my awareness was drawn to last night, has really given me pause for consideration. Speaking of pause, you might hear the little familiar, my little black kitty cat. She's down here trying to get into a box that used to have her kitty litter in it. So it's like... she's been really active and she's been growing a lot. So you might hear her meow a little bit later. She's very aware and smart. So when I start talking about her, she'll start to meow. So we'll see if this happens now at this juncture. But so what happened last night was I was doing this meditation. I told you guys I've been really working on myself. I've been really working on myself since 1987, but there's always like finer details and subtler points that we need to work on, always. You know, the shadow side, the shadow work seems endless, almost like it's never ever done. And it will be done once we've figured out everything we need to heal. So it's almost like we've been given a user manual with written in invisible ink. We know there's things to be done. We know that there's a manual. We know there's instructions, but we can't read them. We don't know what they are. And we're crying out in the dark, like, please help. Anybody? Is anybody there? That's how I feel with this spiritual journey. Like, we just don't know. You don't know until you don't. And you don't know until you know. You know? That's just the way it is. But I've been doing chakra clearing for years. I've been doing aura clearing for years. I've been doing the Pepsi bodies, basically. The physical, emotional, psychological, and spiritual bodies of the individual, Pepsi bodies. I mean, for years I've been doing all this stuff. So it's not like I haven't been doing the work. But what happened last night was something that I had not really been aware of. And I've been reading this book about, Barbara Stanny's book that I mentioned yesterday about overcoming under-earning. And she has a lot of different exercises, which are pretty cool in the book. And I also have been doing another program where I'm doing meditations night and day. And then there's like some extra meditations in the event that you need extra work. So last night I did my meditations and I had done the Barbara Stanny book and everything was on track. And I'm feeling positive. I'm feeling less anxiety and less depressed. But last night I was feeling so much anxiety. And I'm like, is this from my neighbors? Answer is no. Is this from my twin flame? Answer is no. Is this from me? Answer is yes. I'm like, how much is from me? 25%. Oh, are you kidding me? So 75% of my anxiety is coming from a source unknown. And I couldn't figure it out. And I'm like, okay, great. Is this a collective thing? Answer was no. Is it the solar wind? No. So I kept asking and asking, is it like a planetary conjunction? Is it astrology? Is there something in the sky affecting me? And the answer was no. And I'm like, okay, so I guess I just gonna start clearing it out. And I was doing the work, doing the affirmations and doing binaural beats at the same time. I'm doing like 2, 3, 4 things at once because I need to heal this. I need to clear it. Many of you who've been listening to the show for a while know that my numbers were going up. Everything was great. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they dropped down. And a couple days ago, I was back down to like 100. No, yesterday I was back down to 146. And I was stuck at a plateau of 143 people for like almost 3 months. And then all of a sudden it started steadily climbing up. And I was at 235. Now, this is not how many people listen to the show every night. This is how many people are repeatedly coming back. So I'm getting anywhere between 500 and 1,000 plays per night across all platforms, but also this platform doesn't include, it does not include YouTube, which is a lot more, but they are using this as a reason to stop my sponsorship. And I know that their app has been messing up. So, look, I have suddenly less people. And I know that, so I've been like, okay, I just need to rise above my problems and get more people and get more, So just like with anything, any one of you might have issues with, okay, I need to make more money. I'm not, maybe you lost a job or maybe you got a job, but you need to ask for a raise, So, it's those kind of things, money related issues. Like, okay, we all have issues with money. None of us have a really perfect relationship with money to begin with. Even people who are millionaires and billionaires might have issues with money. And they might have in the beginning, before they became wealthy, or, some people are born billionaires and they lose it all. I'm not going to mention who, virus in chief, but, and he lost like $9 billion within 2 years. I can't even imagine losing $9 billion. Like if he had never opened one business ever, and just lived off the interest for the rest of his life, like that would have been better. Yeah. So anyway, but that's a whole nother ballgame. But I've been thinking about, what could this possibly be? And I thought I'm decided to let it go. And I just focused on, I was listening in my mind, to the words that were in the book I read you guys yesterday about just let go of the material world, just let go. And then all the abundance will be added unto you, right? And I'm like, all right, let's do that. And so I started doing the affirmations, and I was trying to get away from my body, like not thinking about my body, not thinking about my physical needs, not thinking about, what I need money for, what I want money for. I started thinking about just the affirmations themselves. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I don't even remember what affirmation it was. All of a sudden, this massive ball of energy that was in my third chakra. Or no, it was actually between my sacral and third. Maybe it was connected to both. it was like a massive ball of energy. It felt like one of those little swirly colored balls that little kids play with. It's like that. It was like that big. That was the size of the energy, right? It was massive. It was like a big pomelo, which is like a huge, like Mexican grapefruit. And it was like that big, and it was like just swirling there, and all of a sudden it just unhooked. I can't explain it other than it felt like someone lifted it up, unhooked it, and it just left. And what I realized was I was connected to somebody's fear, deep-seated fear of money. And I heard this person's voice say, "It's us against the world, and we have to survive." Oh my God, no wonder I was stuck in survival mode, right? And all the things that I know to clear, I could not clear. I've had other people clear me who are magical folk. You know, I have a witch friend who has tried to clear my aura several times. And to no avail. I've done ceremonies, I've burned candles. I mean, you guys have no idea how much I've been trying to get rid of this specific anxiety. I had no idea what it was. And why it was stuck was because the person that this energy was attached to was dead. So what my higher self finally was allowing me to see is that there was a big ball of this energy, and it was hooked into not one but two chakras. And it was also hooked into that person's two chakras. And this is how he connected to me, was through this mutual fear. And I remember this person bringing up the fear and putting the fear in me and saying these things over and over again until I finally agreed, yeah, that's true. And I remember thinking that I didn't really believe it at the time, but I went along with it to appease him and make him feel better. And it alleviated his anxiety. And I took it on as almost like as a freaking project. And then he died, and I saw this these two cords. It was almost like two balls, like of this energy, and between it two strings, like thick ropes, like a tether. And then when he died, he let it go, and it came bouncing back like a rubber band at me. So I got the double whammy. I got his half of it and my half of it. And it was just stuck and hanging out there. And I didn't know. It was almost like a ticking time bomb because it wasn't constantly there. Otherwise, I would have gotten rid of it years ago. This was like from like 7-8 years ago. And I was like, oh my God. And as soon as he died, when he released all this stuff, he counted on me to take on all of his anxiety and sadness and woes, etc., that I had helped him with before. Because I was kind of not really a counselor to him. We were in a relationship, but I had taken on his stuff as a kind of, I guess, as love. You know, that was the way I was looking at love back then. Now I look at this is like a mutual thing, and I take care of my shit, you take care of yours. You know, I will help release your stuff from you, but I'm not going to take it on for you. I refuse to take on someone else's pain for them. If they can't feel their own pain, that's fine, but I'm not going to feel it for them. I'm done being a doormat for people's energy. And so this energy just went snapping back into me, and it was like a ticking time bomb, because when I knew my money was going to end, it just increased and increased and increased. And it was almost like a thought form. And I've talked to you guys before about thought forms. When you think a thought, and then it comes back to you, and you think the thought again, it's like the snowball effect. So, you know, you might start off with one snowflake, and then you think the thought again, and now it's two snowflakes hooked together. And if you think a thought 30, 40, 50 times a day, now you have a snowball. And eventually you have a massive snowball. If it's a happy thought, you get a snowman or a snow angel. But if it's a bad thought, you get an avalanche of negative thoughts, including anxiety and depression. And it's an energetic thing. It's just like it comes back around like a boomerang, you know. And so that's what had happened to me. And I want to let you guys know to be aware of it. You know, when you have to forgive people, you have to forgive people from all the different angles, right? And this is an angle that maybe many of you, especially if you're empaths, haven't thought of. You didn't know about it. I didn't even know about it. It's not anything written in books that I've ever seen. It's like when two people have a shared fear, and then one person dies, and then the other person who had the shared fear is now not sharing that fear anymore, and now the fear has doubled inside them, and then something happens to trigger that fear, and then it's like, where the hell did that come from? That's what happened to me. So I was able to let it go. When it unhooked, I was like, oh my God, that's like so incredible. I'm so happy that I finally was able to get rid of that energy. I still have some heart chakra clearing to do that I've been working on like really intensely. I mean, I'm talking like 2 hours a day. I'm saying affirmations throughout the day, but I'm doing like 2 hours a day of intense energy work, and also clearing work and meditation work, and you name it, and just reasoning things out. And another thing that happened to me this morning, completely unrelated to that, but related to the work I've been doing, the deep, deep shadow work, is that, I'm going through this money book, and most of my money stuff is clear. Most of my stuff is really clear, which is surprising that I don't have an income at all right now. It's like, how the hell do I have no income if I'm clear? And God keeps telling me, you're in a waiting period, you're in a holding pattern, it's almost over, and you're being reset. And once you are reset, you're going to be fine. But I was just really going through it. And one of the things in the book, it said, this lady running the workshop asked all these women, they're all sitting around in a circle, and she said, okay, so what do you guys want out of this workshop? And this one lady said, I just want Blanche to shut the hell up. And she's like, excuse me? And she's like, Blanche is my inner critic, my inner voice. It's constantly blabbing about, telling me all the negative things about myself. I just want to shut her the hell up. And then, so the woman writing the book, Barbara Stanny, said she realized that we have an authentic voice, and then we have the inner critic. It could be your mother or your aunt or your neighbor or your sister. It could be anybody. It doesn't have to be a woman, by the way. It could be, your father. It could be your grandpa, your uncle, your boss, your first boss, your boyfriend. It could be anybody that it might be in their voice, or might just be a conglomeration, like a teacher or a priest. It could be anybody that said crap to you that had nothing to do with reality, but maybe you were in a vulnerable state and you accepted it at that moment. Or maybe they did something. Maybe they said nothing, but they did something, and you accepted it at that moment, and you don't even know. Now it's lodged inside you. It could be lodged in your DNA or your chakras or aura. I mean, you got to clear everything out. I mean, this isn't just a light house cleaning where you just dust the furniture in the living room and bada boom, bada bing, you're done. Dung. Oh my God, nice Freudian slip there. You got to get the shit, speaking of dung, out of the attic, and you've got to clear out the basement, and you need to open up the windows and let the sunshine in. You gotta let the light in, and sometimes it's not so easy to figure it out. Like, have you guys ever been in a house where there's a smell, and you're like, what the hell? What is that? I can't find it. I've cleaned this, and I've cleaned that, and I've cleaned that. You go through everything, and then it turns out it's like somebody's shoes or something, or a skunk behind the house, or a dead rat in the walls. There's always something, that you don't see, right? In a situation like that. And it's the same thing inside your own everything. It's not just your psyche. It's not just your mentality, your mental body. Sometimes it's your emotional pain body, which I think is your emotional body, but it's like the painful part, like the part that feels the pain, and you have to clear this stuff often, but you got to look at it and understand why the pain is there. Now, sometimes you could clear it and then it comes right back like a thought form that avalanches inside you until you realize, oh, that's what that's from. So like, for example, this morning I was like clearing my first chakra. I've been doing this first chakra work for days now. And I was clearing the second chakra and the third chakra and then the fourth chakra. And my heart chakra is pretty clear. I've done for years a lot of heart work. So I was in my third eye is always open because I'm like super psychic, and my crown chakra is always open, and my throat chakra goes back and forth. It's a little bit more now than it ever was, now that I'm speaking my authentic truth, right? So I was reading in this book, and she says, what would your authentic voice tell you? And what does the Blanche of your life tell you? And I just started writing a couple things, and then all of a sudden it hit me, and it made me cry really hard. And I know a lot of you have had these kinds of feelings. And if your parents resented having you when they did, or they didn't want to have you, like for me, I was adopted, and my mom, I found out years ago, after my mom died, I found out that she tried to abort me because God showed me, God allowed me to see that she tried to abort me, and she couldn't kill me when she was pregnant with me. And then she had me, but gave me away to strangers. And the day that I was born, she said, I don't want to see her, I don't want to know her, I don't want anything to do with this. Knock me out, doctor. And the doctor gave her drugs and just, I think, did a C-section. So I didn't get to complete the whole birthing canal thing, which I don't know why the hell that's important, but some people insist that that's important. But I never got to be held by my mom. I didn't have any connection to my mom because she wanted nothing to do with me. Can you imagine 9 months of somebody trying to kill you and not wanting anything to do with you? When you're supposed to be creating a bonding experience. So that was like the first abandonment, and people who have been abandoned emotionally or physically or otherwise have this abandonment thing. And so I've got that, obviously. And, I've been trying to clear my whole life. I, years in therapy when I was younger, because I didn't want to, put my kids through my emotional crap. So I made sure I was as clear as I possibly could be before I ever even met my guy who I married and had kids with. But, so anyway, I heard this really tiny, scratchy little Blanche voice that said, I don't deserve to live. And I feel like that might be the suicidal tendencies and the depression I've had my whole life might be connected to my mom telling me that while I was in the womb. Holy shit, what a breakthrough. What a breakthrough. Oh my God, you guys. So I'm looking at now, it's 22 minutes, 22 seconds in. There's your angel number 2222. So you can look up either 22 or 222 or 222 and also just 2. So this is a huge breakthrough for me, and it might be for you, because if I say something, a lot of you get triggered by what I say in a way that you go, oh my God. I don't mean triggered in a negative connotation way, like, just because it has a new agey slant doesn't mean it doesn't mean it's okay to say. I hate when people say that, so I didn't mean to say that word. The word triggered triggers me. But because it's just such a rude, oh, are you triggered? Ugh, God, it's just people use that so much as a way to shame others, like mental health shaming. It's not a pretty thing. But it sparked my thought of, oh my God, that inner voice was so well hidden under layers of other stuff that I didn't see it. Like a dead rat in the walls. My house might be clean, my walls are painted, and the lawn is manicured, but maybe there's still a smell there, right? So I was thinking this is something that is potential, that might be something, similar to what you guys might have. And so I found it. Found the dead rat in the wall. I released that thing. And then I asked my authentic voice, which is what the exercise in the book said to do. What would your authentic voice say about this? Well, obviously, I'm God. I deserve to live. I beyond deserve to live. I deserve every good thing in this life, obviously, and so do you. So this was the thing that came to me today, and I was going to talk to you guys about forgiveness, and this is intrinsically tied into the idea of forgiveness, because you have to not only forgive yourself for not healing yourself, especially when you didn't know what was needed and what wasn't needed, because sometimes things are so freaking deep. It's layers and layers and layers, and sometimes, it's like the princess and the pea. You could be sleeping on 20 mattresses, and there's one pea that is the one thing that's throwing your back out of whack, right? And, I'm not calling you guys spoiled, but it's a metaphor. Like, there's 20 mattresses, so you remove one, and now there's 19 left, and you remove those, and you get down to the very bottom, and you're like, oh my God, it was a pea all along. This teeny tiny little kernel of something, this hard little pea, this hard little thing, the rat in the wall, that held you back, and you had no idea. Held your back, and once you remove it, then you're like, oh, well, I could sleep fine now. Now I know what was wrong, and I fixed it. So you have to forgive yourself for not seeing the things that you didn't see, especially when they're a surprising thing. Like, if someone's holding on to the energy with you, and you both are holding this subconsciously, and you have no idea you're holding it, and then they die, and it comes bouncing back to you. But it's a time bomb, a ticking time bomb. So the next time something like that situation comes up again, now you're like, and instead of having 25% more fear than normal, you have 200% because of all the energy that somebody else had. You have to forgive yourself for not seeing it, for not feeling it, for not knowing it was there, because you don't know till you know. And then the other thing was, you have to forgive other people for the shit they do to you, because they have had shit done to them too. They don't know, because if they did know, they wouldn't do what they did. Unless they're pure evil, and most people, some people are pure evil, you got to hand it to them. Some people are, bragging about dancing with the devil, like for real, in an evil and negative way. And some people assume that, the demons are there because they're their friends, I saw something the other day that said, yo, demons, it's me, your boy. And it was like supposed to be like a funny t-shirt, and it had like a picture of like a Ouija board thing, the pointer on a Ouija board. And I thought that was kind of a funny t-shirt. But anyway, but you have to forgive people for being ignorant, for being stupid, and for not, for perpetuating crap not only on themselves and accepting other people's morsels of bullshit, other people's pee at the bottom of 20 mattresses that they had in their subconscious mind, and then passing that along to you. And you have to forgive them because they don't know what they do. If you're a mom and you're pregnant and you're mad about the pregnancy, and you say bad crap while you're pregnant and the fetus can hear it, that goes into the subconscious mind, and it gets like built into the body of that child. And it's hard to figure out sometimes. I wanted both my kids. I planned my kids. I told them I loved them while they were in the womb all the way through, the whole thing. But not everybody does that. Not everybody has my experience of that. Like my mom didn't want me, and she told me I didn't deserve to live while she's pregnant with me. And that was something that I literally heard her say today in a really angry and pissed off, kind of spoiled, rotten sort of voice. And that was my experience I had this morning, which is like crazy. It's crazy. I mean, my mom was 19, unmarried, had sex one drunken night with my dad on a military base. She'd been dating him only like 2 or 3 weeks, and then he shipped off. And when he left, she found she was pregnant. So she had no connection really. Like, she thought she was in love with him, wanted to marry him, but she didn't really have any connection to me. She never wanted one. And that affected me on a subconscious and on a cellular and DNA level. So those are things that you need to watch out for. And It's all tied to the forgiveness of yourself and others. Forgive the situation, forgive the circumstance, forgive your ancestors for the bullshit that they passed down, one kernel at a time, one pea at the bottom of 20 mattresses at a time, one dead rat in the wall of the family ancestral home at a time. That shit gets lodged into your DNA. And once you figure it out, be grateful. And we're going to talk about gratefulness, gratitude tomorrow. But just be aware that when these things come up, just be grateful that they came up, because holy man, you get to let go of that now. Ugh, it is such a relief. Because you are nothing less than a holy, innocent child of God. I read something somewhere yesterday about, someone was like, only Jesus is the Son of God and nobody else. And someone said, so you believe that? It wasn't me being snarky this time. It's somebody else's comment. And then I was like, I don't want to read these anymore. But someone else said, so what you don't understand though is that we are all the sons or daughters of God, not just Jesus. It's not like he's the only Son of God and the rest of us are just mere servants, that God, kicks around and treats like crap and, puts us in impossible situations and then throws us in hell and hates us and spites us and smites us. It's so, and shites us, It's just, it's so dumb to think like that. Like, Jesus is the one. Actually, it was in the book yesterday, right? That's right. It was in the book that I read yesterday. Jesus was saying that he was a son of God and he said we're all brothers and sisters. It was like implied, that we're all sons and daughters of God because we are all sparks of the great divine. Of the great divine. And as such, we are 100% pure and innocent and holy. And we're perfect. And we have to understand who we are on a deeper level. And it's hard when we have all these layers of crap put on us from other people. People we're in relationships with, people that are our parents, our ancestors, our family members, our bosses, clergy members. Some asshole at the grocery store says one thing and your subconscious mind is open in that moment because you're in a state of hypnosis. Next thing you know, you feel like bad about yourself and you don't know why. Because of some shit that somebody else said. So I'm here to tell you that you might think you're done. And I thought I was done. I'm like, I'm done with all my shadow work. All my big shadow work I was fully done with, and then these little weird, tiny, itty bitty kernels, itty bitty things that apparently turned out to be very, very big core, deep wound, psychologically and emotionally and spiritually damaging kernels of just basically crap. Came up is 2 since yesterday, 2 big ones. And I'm all, oh man. Oh, thank God. Because I mentioned several times that I've been feeling suicidal for a few weeks. I'm like, was it me? Was it you? Was it somebody else down the road? Is it the collective energy? Is it just me? And I know that I've had this inside me. And I didn't know exactly why. Although I do know that, just having illnesses my whole life just made me weary. Like, I just don't want to live anymore because, God, this sucks. Not because I don't want to live. Not because I don't love each other. Love each other. I was thinking of myself as me and my twin flame together as a whole. I can't believe I just said that. That's so weird. No, it's not that I don't love myself, because I do. I love myself very much. It's not that I don't love my life and don't appreciate it, because I do. I do. Maybe not as much as I should, especially because I'm not having as much fun as I want to, which is coming, and I feel like it's coming. I feel like any moment I'm going to have this massive breakthrough, and it's going to be like, oh, thank God, I feel amazing. I didn't have a goal for a few weeks. That was really irritating me. Not, being a Virgo, I have to plan every freaking thing out. You know, I have a feeling that my twin flame is opposite, where he just doesn't want, you know, anything. He just doesn't even want to know what's coming next. He doesn't want to know what tomorrow brings. He just wants to see what happens. It's kind of an exciting surprise. And for me, it's like, okay, I'm up for exciting surprises between 2 and 2:33 tomorrow. But at 2:34, I'm going to plan something. But I'm just kidding. I'm not that big of a planner like I used to be. I'm a lot more flexible and a lot more happy to see where the day takes me. I actually am okay with that now. It took me years of therapy to get through as a Virgo, very, very Virgo, and I got through it, you know, that. But anyway, there you guys go. Those are those things that can come up, and especially if someone who died hooked something into you, either with your permission or without, if they forced something on you, you know, energetically somehow. Sometimes people will put themselves upon you. You know, I've had people try to glom onto me in a way that, and I don't mean like, you know, just people that want to talk to me. That's not a problem. But I've had people that I have like zero in common with, and their energy is super low, and they're trying to hitch their wagon to my star, and I'm rising, and they're dragging me the hell down. And I have nothing in common with them, you know, and I don't mean, and it hasn't happened to me in years, but when I was a kid, this happened to me a few times. Like the weird kids, the deformed kids, the mentally crazy kids, you know, and I always gave them love and compassion. I gave everyone in my life love and compassion, but some of these kids were just so needy and you know, what other kids would call pathetic. I didn't label them, but that's what other people would label them, and I'm like, oh my God. And the whole time I just kept thinking about St. Francis of Assisi. You know, how he let people come to him that were what other people were considering to be undesirable people. You know, and I just loved everybody, but I always had that glomming on scenario until I learned to have better boundaries when I was a teenager, and when I was like an adult teenager. I started having better boundaries where I'm like, oh, okay, I don't have that anymore. Like, I was a weird magnet for a while, but I didn't have the glomming on thing for, you know, after that. But that was like, you know, that was an energetic thing where people could hook into you. And as a psychic medium, I had ghosts, I've had entities hook into me, glom onto me that no one can see, but I could feel it and other people could feel. And I don't have it now. I'm asking God, do I know? Okay, I don't. And now that I see entities, you know, in my mind's eye, I could just close my eyes. If I feel something, I close my eyes and I could see everything in my room. I could scan everything. And I know it's there. I know what's not there. And I know what they're there for. What are they after? And now that the entities know I know that they're there, I could just help anyone with anything, you know, from other dimensions. But anyway, that's what I got for you. That was my 2 cents for today. I feel like hopefully this is going to help you guys. I mean, there are other places to look than where you've looked to finish and complete all your shadow work. And that's all it is, you know. And again, it could be a ticking time bomb. You don't know, and everything's fine. You feel clear. I felt clear for years. And then these things came up to, like, in the last week. I was like, what? And then just in the past 24 hours, these things were healed. And then when they were in the process of being healed, I was like, oh, that's what was causing that thought, that recurring avalanche of thoughts. That one little pea at the bottom of 20 mattresses. How the hell did I find it? But find it I did, because I'm a damn queen. Anyway, all right, let's get to the space weather report. And tonight we're going to channel Ashtar Sherhan. Are you available, Ashtar Sherhan? He says, yes, I am. Okay, good. God told me to channel him, and I forgot to ask if he was even available. All right. Let's see. Let's do it the opposite way. Usually we do space weather. I already went to heart math, so let's do it. There might be a reason I'm doing this in this direction instead of the other way. Opposite day. It's opposite day. Speaking of opposite day, somebody did not concede, but is allowing things to proceed. No concede, yes, yet let's proceed. So thank God the Cheeto in chief is allowing things to move on so that Biden is the official winner. No one's going to reverse it. The whole QAnon crap, there's a lot of QAnon people in the spiritual community, by the way. And before we get into this space weather and Schumann Resonance news, I want you guys to realize that the whole QAnon stuff, that is just, it's bullshit. It's not true. There's some of the stuff is real, and then a lot of the stuff is absolutely not. And it could be a governmental manipulation. It could be Putin. God knows who this is. Nobody really knows. The FBI is looking into it. But because of QAnon, that's where all these weird Trumpites are coming from, because they believe, because they have the proof of things, like 30% of it's real, 30% of it's speculated, and 30% of it's just complete fantastical bullshit. It's not true. And there's a lot of people in the spiritual community. People are not immune to this unless they're using complete discernment. But when the QAnon they're talking about ascension, they're talking about Pleiadians, they're talking about star seeds, they're talking about things that you and I are into, that we're, it's like it's grabbing onto different factors and sectors of society in a very insidious way. And now people have been murdered because of QAnon. People have been kidnapped and hijacked because of QAnon. People have received death threats because of QAnon. So I am not a part of this. Just for the record, I will never be a part of this. I thought it was an interesting website once or twice. I looked at it, but it didn't suck me in because I have discernment. Thank you, God. And for the grace of God go I. And God bless people that do not have discernment, and they don't know that they don't have discernment, and they think they're on the right path of things, but I'm not listening to them spiritually anymore. And the people who mention the stuff from that, I've already deleted them out of my life. I don't, I love them, send them on their way, but I can't listen to people, who are spouting off supposed spiritual teachings when this is where they're getting their info from, even in part, even if it's 10% of their stuff. So anybody who says Trump's going to reverse it and Biden and the truth's going to come out and all that bullshit conspiracy crap, in this instance, I don't believe any of it. So I'm not a part of it. I just want you guys to be rest assured that I'm not part of this. It's like a massive cult. It's like literally a mass cult, and the conditions, the storm, weather conditions were just right for this to hit and take over America right now. I don't know if it's taken over the world or just the United States, but it's pretty crazy stuff. So I wanted to bring it up briefly because I am not a part of it. And I don't believe it. And I never will. I mean, my spiritual information does not come from a website. My spiritual information does not come from the internet. My spiritual information comes from God directly, himself, and also, my higher self, my higher guidance. And also years I spent studying mystery schools. Years I spent studying books and cross-referencing and having spiritual groups where we meditated together and got spiritual messages from our higher selves. And then the whole group would use discernment. What do you think? Do you think that's true? Do you think it's not true? Do you think it's bullshit? Is it a demon? Is there a ghost in here? We really worked on ourselves. And we honed and fine-tuned ourselves because iron sharpens iron. And that's what we did. I mean, I spent years on the spiritual path since 1987. So my spiritual stuff, my information for this show does not come from a website that cropped up 2-3 years ago or whenever. My spiritual information comes from real sources. And that's the difference between me and other people. I mean, I'm not saying everyone, because a lot of people are on the right path too. But there's a few people that I have even promoted on the show that I now just don't any longer. I can't support them any longer. I don't believe it, So when people say they're channeling the Pleiadians, and then they're saying the Pleiadians are all pro-Trump, that's not, they're just channeling their own subconscious mind after reading the QAnon boards or whatever. Because when I channeled Ashtar Sherhan last time, he said we don't really have any opinion either way. Just because someone lived in the Pleiades one lifetime eons ago doesn't make him the savior of all humankind. And he even said we've distanced ourselves from that idea and from Trump. We don't honestly give a crap about American politics. We're in the fifth dimension. We're beyond this kind of crap. The he said, she said, us versus them crap. That mentality has nothing to do with the Pleiadians. So anyway, but I am going to be channeling Ashtar Sherhan tonight, and I don't know what about. Might be about that, might be about something else. I'm not really sure, but we will find out after the break. But let's get to our daily news items that let us know we're not totally crazy. We'll find out what's been going on. So Schumann Resonance news, the closest to today we have is Sunday, November 22nd, which, what a wild day that was. I mean, I'm not going to say it's a portal, just because it's a random arbitrary date on a calendar, like I told you guys before. I mean, you keep seeing the number 222, 222 in your life, that might be something. And I did mention it earlier today, and here we are looking at 11/22/2020. So that is something when it's all put together, right? California was at 44. Here's another angel number, 44 hertz frequency on the Schumann Resonance scale. Hafu, Saudi Arabia is back down to 0. Lithuania was up to 93 hertz frequency. Alberta, Canada was up to 65 hertz frequency. Northland, New Zealand was at 50 hertz frequency. And last but not least, Hululu, South Africa. They're on the rise again at 214 hertz frequency. So, as far as Schumann Resonance coming out of Disclosure News.it out of Italy, they were at 7.83 yesterday, and today their big number was 8. 8 hertz frequency. I don't know why theirs is so low. They seem to be like an anchor point. It's like the very, we are tethered to this, and it's the lowest possible. I don't know. It's just kind of an idea that I have. It's almost like a tether. Have you guys ever seen, what is that ball on it's like kind of a stupid game. It's a fun game, but it's like a ball on the end of a string it's almost like a cat toy for adults. It's a cat toy for humans. And it's a pole, maybe it's just called pole ball. I don't know, something stupid. It's like, it's a ball on the end of a string, and the string's attached to the top of a pole, a metal pole, and two people are on either side, and they try to get the ball on the string to wrap around the pole in the direction that they choose for themselves. So one's going counterclockwise, one's going clockwise, and whoever can get that thing wrapped all the way around is the winner. Which I'm assuming that, this might end up in a lot of slapping fights among children. But anyway, why was I saying that? I don't even know why I was saying that. Oh, but tether, yeah. Oh, yeah, no, it's called tetherball. Duh. Okay, that's why I thought about this. So tetherball. That's how I feel like, maybe Italy is the pole, and the ball is like there, and it can swing wildly in every direction, but it's tethered right there in Italy, which is that pole. I don't know. It's kind of a weird image I have in my mind. Hopefully I conveyed it correctly, but you guys will figure it out or not. Ask me questions at Mermaid Girl 888 for anything. Ask me questions. If you want or need a reading, if you want or need hypnotherapy, I'm getting ready to do some hypnosis coming up soon. Anyway, spaceweather.com, here we go. Solar wind speed conditions are 414.5 kilometers per second. There are 3 sunspots facing the Earth right now. and they're all relatively very large sunspots. They all pose a threat for C-class solar flares. So here we go. We're in an active solar cycle again. It's good to see, I guess. Hopefully nothing major will come of it, but it's kind of exciting for a little bit. The new sunspot is so big it could swallow Earth with barely a ripple. Thank you for that thought, guys. Spaceweather.com. The dimensions of the spot make it an easy target if you want to check out this sunspot from your backyard telescope. You know, don't look directly into the sun, by the way. There's a lot of pictures on spaceweather.com if you want to check it out. There was a solar flare that hurled a big plasma bomb. Sunspot AR2785. Well, we knew this one was going to be a troublemaker before it went around the sun the last time. It erupted during the late hours of the 23rd, which was yesterday, produced a C4 class solar flare. The explosion hurled a plume of plasma more than 350,000 kilometers across the sun. This is a plasma bomb. It went 350,000 kilometers across the sun. And if you want to check it out, there is some little video footage from NASA's Solar Dynamics Observatory that was recorded here and uploaded to spaceweather.com. So they did notice that there was a pulse of ultraviolet radiation from this flare. It did hit Earth. It briefly ionized the top of the atmosphere and in turn caused a shortwave radio blackout across the South Pacific, including Eastern Australia and New Zealand. So if you guys were affected, shortwave radio, maybe your actual radio might have a little bit of a brownout, then now you know why, basically. There's a blackout map if you want to check it out. It was, the frequencies mainly affected were below 10 megahertz though. More solar flares are now currently in the offing. Three of the biggest sunspots of this solar cycle 25 are facing Earth right now or churning in our direction. They all pose a threat for C-class solar flares. So just so you know, that's a possibility. And if you start to feel really tired out of nowhere, maybe it's because of this. If you have a fever, go get checked for COVID-19. I feel like I have to be responsible and mention that. Ulu neutron counts today are high. They've gone up in the past 48 hours by 0.8%. And as far as the solar wind, whole different thing from plasma and flares, for the next few days, Earth will dip in and out of solar wind streams that are happening right now from the northern crown coronal hole. So it's happening right now. You might have moments where you feel kind of woozy and dizzy and losing your memory, and then all of a sudden you feel better. And you're just like, well, that was weird. I felt like I was drunk for a minute, and now I'm back. Well, it might be the solar wind, especially if you are energetically sensitive to such things. Now, we're only mentioning the 8 fireballs still from the NASA All-Sky camera. This was from yesterday, the 5 sporadics and the 3 Leonids. And that's all they're mentioning, so I don't know if that means there was nothing today or if they're late in uploading it. Anyway, I'm going to take a quick break. You guys are going to hear music for a few seconds. And when I come back, we're going to channel Ashtar Sherhan, or Michael Sherhan of Ashtar Command and the Pleiadian Light Forces, right after this quick little blurb of music. And someday maybe sponsor. All right, I'll be right back. Alright guys, I am back. I came upstairs and thought it would be quieter now that my son's no longer playing his video game in the background with his friends making jokes and him laughing while I'm talking about serious topics. He apologized about that later. He didn't realize what was happening, because he's really into his game. But so, if you hear noises in the background now, it's actually the cat, because she has trapped a moth, and I set up this morning the cat bowling game, and she still has a few pins she hasn't knocked over. She loves this game. I don't know, you could hear it in the background. So if you hear that now, you know what's going on. Anyway, Michael Sherhan of Ashtar Command and the Pleiadian Light Forces, he's here with me. And are you telepathing? You're here in spirit body. Yeah, he's here. He's pretty much like astral projecting to me from his ship, which is in the 5th dimension. Oh, okay. He's saying they're kind of making a transition to the 7th dimension, actually. Since everything in the universe is going up, they're kind of in the transition phases of it too, which I didn't think about that. So anyway, here we go. I am not a direct channeler. A direct channeler is somebody who will leave their body and allow an entity or spirit or group of spirits to take over their body. I don't do that. Being skeptical of that and a Virgo and a little nervous about it, I don't do that at all. My lips are chapped, pardon me. I got to put some Nivea on to make sure that they don't get more. My bottom lip is still split. I don't know what is going on with this, but 3 times since I moved to this place, probably the air is so dry. This just keeps happening because of that. But anyway, here we go. I am an indirect channel, which means I use my gift of telepathy, which was something I was born with when I was very, very little, is when I first utilized this gift. I telepathed with my grandfather, my probably great-great-grandfather. I don't know exactly, but I do know that he was Cherokee and he came through the body of a raven, and we would meet every morning before my parents woke up, and he would tell me all about the nature of the universe and spirituality, and we talked about God a lot, and he made me laugh, and we had a great relationship until one day my mom made me feel weird about it and chased the raven away with a broom. She was saying, shoot, shoot, and just really, really mad, really scared. I guess when you're a mother and you have a 3-year-old that's talking to a raven almost as big as the 3-year-old, I guess that could be kind of scary. For me, though, I was just loving my conversations. Never realized it was anything weird or different. It was me. It was just me. And throughout my life, I've had telepathic experiences, and I never put 2 and 2 together. I didn't think about it, but now, only in the last few years did I realize, oh man, I have telepathy. This is really weird. I don't always use it. I could have used it in a lot more incidents than I have. A lot of animals I wished I would have talked to a little bit more. I haven't really, my cat just looked at me when I said that. I was thinking, I haven't really telepathed with my cat yet. We just speak out loud to each other. You know, she is starting to understand some words, and she has the equivalent of a 4-year-old human child right now with her age. But anyway, I might have to get to that later and see what she's thinking. Maybe when she's a few years older, technically, a few months older. Anyway, I've already connected to Ashtar Sherhan. Like I said, he's here in the room with me. Not physically, but in his astral body, which means he's sleeping on his ship. So if he has to go, he has to go. But right now, everything's quiet on that front, he says. So without further ado, let's begin the transmission now. You may begin transmission. Michael Sherhan of Ashtar Command. Greetings, it is I, of course, Michael Sherhan of Ashtar Command. I command the Pleiadian Light Forces as well as the Galactic Federation of Light, which includes more than just the Pleiadians. We are a group of galactic beings that are very much like your United Nations peacekeepers, except we don't call it peacekeeping and create war. We are the opposite of that. We are ambassadors of goodwill, and we wish to always create a situation of peace throughout the universe. That is our goal and our fondest desire and wish. We want to extend our delicate, right? Okay. We wish to extend our delicate greetings and invitations and salutations to all of you. Many of you are skeptical of us, and we understand. It does sound like a made-up organization from perhaps one of your science fiction movies, but we have been around a very, very long time. In fact, many of your writers over the years have picked up on our existence in the universe, either through dreams or direct contact, and that's how these ideas started to play out in your world, at least in the movies and television series, such as, of course, Star Trek, which is the Federation, and we are the Galactic Federation of Light. So we wanted to let you guys know that yes, we are real, and yes, we have been speaking through many, many people throughout your world, and some of them are real, really real, and some of them are only getting a portion of our message. We contacted them hoping they would open up their telepathic channel, and maybe they did 10 or 15%, and the rest of their message is coming directly from input from their subconscious mind or input from the static electricity, as we call it, basically sound bites you hear on the internet and through radio and television and cable and other people, and maybe books that were also not channeled very well. And so we've had some problems and issues with some of our channelers that we were hoping would have blossomed into better channelers by now. But in the case of people that you don't feel that you could trust any longer, it's because we have stopped channeling through them, because their channels did not grow and expand and increase in the bandwidth of light, but rather they have decreased in the light of falling back into the darkness. And now he's kind of saying, I didn't mean to say falling into, like in light of. That was actually an unintended pun. All right, good. I thought you were being clever. I mean, you are clever, but I thought you were just acting clever on purpose. He says, one of the rare times I wasn't. He's laughing a little bit. He's actually quite a humble person. He says, well, thank you for noticing. And yeah, so he's kind of blushing in his spirit body, if that's possible. It's the energy I'm getting. I also, by the way, I'm an empath, so I can feel the feelings, and I get telepathic images, as well as, just like psychic, clairvoyant pictures and packets of light and information all at once, in addition to steady stream of words, although we're working very well together, and I am channeling his words in real time right now, so thank God it's working a little bit better than it has in recent weeks, actually. So I feel like he says, yes, by the way, yes, you've gotten an upgrade. I did. Tell me more about this upgrade, Ashtar. I almost called you Archangel Michael. Oh my God. I know I'm doing this too late. I should have done this earlier. All right. So yeah, everyone has gotten an upgrade, and there was a blue light upgrade. At least that's what I'm calling it. There was like a blue energy light that came through and swept through all of your human, he says, okay, so he's saying throughout all your human endeavors and all your human counterparts. So he's basically saying it was like a blue light that swept through all of our activities and all of our bodies and all of our, he's saying, and events. And what did the blue light do to us? At first, there was a blue energy that was making people blue. And you might have noticed that there was a lot of people really upset, really turning into their the dark side of their thinking. Maybe they went back to past patterns and past thoughts, but a lot of it was cleared out, and that's what the blue light was doing. All right, he's trying to show me something. I don't do that though. He's showing me like if there's if you have a pus-filled sore, and he's like showing me like on your arm, and I don't know if he means like a spider bite. He says, yeah, a spider bite. And he's showing me like somebody in the mountains. I guess he knows about this. I don't know about this. And it's kind of creeping me out, actually. He says, okay, then we'll go fast. Great. Instead of just dropping it. Great. He's like, well, hear me out. All right. I guess there's a method which I did not know about. Where if you take a match that's lit or just recently blown out, and you put that next to a pus-filled spider bite, I guess it will draw the pus out. The sulfur in the match will draw it out. Does it have to be lit though? He says, yeah, it actually works faster because of the heat, and it draws it out. All right, I have a less disgusting way of saying it. When you're drawing with an ink pen and the pen stops working and you take a match to the end of that, the heat of the match will bring the ink, it'll draw the ink towards the end of the pen, and the pen can write again. That's when it stops writing. You can make it write again. He says, oh yeah, of course, that is less disgusting. Okay, so what does that have to do with the blue light? So, all right. Okay, so that's what the blue light was like. It was just, it kind of was a vibrational match for the blues. You know, when people say they've got the blues, there's an energy that's kind of a sick, lower level kind of a blue color. You know, if you could see somebody's aura that's dark blue and it's kind of a gray blue, like a cadet blue, that's obscure. It's not at all clear. It's a very muddied kind of blue. And when people say they have the blues, that's the energy that's around them, even if they don't know it. And so what this does is it kind of, this, because it's blue, matches the blue and the vibration of the color, but not in the vibration of the emotion itself. So it'll match it just to draw it out, and it will make it prominent. And this blue light made it very, very powerful and strong to pull out, to draw out all of the blues, all of the negativity, all of the bad ideas or thoughts people have about themselves, etc. And then what it did is it kind of culled that energy out, like almost like a knife, just cutting it really clean away from us. So we might have felt suicidal or bad, negative, depressed, filled with anxiety or rage, and then all of a sudden it was just gone, and we just felt like the next day, like, oh good, it's gone. And he's showing me it might have felt like a little bit of a void. You might have felt empty in parts of your body where you have been holding on to anger or rage or deep sorrowful. Oh my gosh. I saw the word instead of heard it. sorrowful energy, like sad, very deeply sad energy. And so you might have felt it, and then all of a sudden the next day it's gone, but you feel the void where it was. And some of you might have tried to take that old emotion and replace it back, but a lot of you could not do that because the blue light energy that had washed itself through the cosmos, not just through the earth planes, actually it healed the space, the void that was left behind, so that energy could not come back and find its home in you. So the blue energy is something that everybody felt in the past 3 weeks, but mostly in the past 7 to 10 days. He's saying more accurately 6 to 9 days, just to be honest. Yeah, that's about when I started to feel something was going on. I wasn't aware until right now exactly what was happening, but he says, and we would love to take credit for it, but this was not the Pleiadians doing. This was an energy that was a pulse wave of light that came directly from the grand central sun at the center of your universe. And so we want to mention this, as we have many times before, that the grand central sun is he's saying it's kind of the brains behind this operation, if you want to put it that way. It's ultimate and complete intelligence, and it radiates out light and love and joy and peace and beauty and harmony towards all of the people in all of the cosmos, all the universes, all the galaxies, etc. And I saw an and then now it just went blank. All right, and he says, and you should not feel alone in the universe. So, like, this energy of blueness did not just go over Earth. It went through the whole star system, galaxies, and everything else. All right. And he's telling me something that's kind of not making a lot of sense, but it will. He says, okay, trust me on the metaphor. He says, it's like a lot of people's blue screens were lit up, almost like a TV screen that's your personal TV screen that scans everything. It's not an actual TV screen, he's saying, but it's like there's like a scanner in the ethereal planes that is put into place with those people who want to be monitored. They want to be in touch with their starseed family, if they're starseeds. And he's showing me like the scanner thing, and he said they've been able to see the data of all the scanners of what was happening with people's bodies, and that's why they're able to know about this. He says a good many and a good plenty of energies come from the grand central sun quite often and frequently, and they're not aware of them always, but they were aware because some people have asked the Pleiadians to be a part of their medical healing team, and so there was put in place like a monitoring system on the ethereal planes where the Pleiadians can have access to it, and so they could tell their people, their starseeds, that they're monitoring, and they always send like love and light and healing energy, but they also are there for practical scientific research, but only on behalf of the people who are starseeds who said, hey, help me with this. But he said it was very enlightening because he got to see on all these monitors, because people would say something happened, come check out why I feel this way. And so they were able to upload the information from these scanners. And so they're saying that they were kind of shocked by what they saw, because it's not usually so cut and dry with these things. wow, he says usually it's not just the physical or not just the emotional body that's being targeted for these kinds of things. Usually the pulse waves of light will target all of your systems and it'll be integrated and whole before it even hits you. But this blue light was a surprise because it's not normally so focused and laser targeted. And it seems like it was about like anxiety and depression and the things that are extremely prevalent in the world. And it wasn't just okay, all right, so he's showing me that a lot of times we'll be bombarded by cosmic radiation that's just random. It comes out of nowhere. It's almost like static or friction between just the planets coexisting together. You know, he says, imagine if you're living in a family with 7 or 8 kids and 2 parents, and you all love each other, but you're going to clash once in a while. And it's that kind of energy. It's like a static background energy. But with this one, it wasn't just random that some people be sensitive to or not. This was something that everybody was susceptible to because it was only in this one octave. And all right. So anyway, I'm sorry. I lost it for a second. I just started to go into a trance. I can't even talk about it. I started to go into a trance for a second. So, because he's trying to show me these scanners. They're like a holographic type of scanner. There's like a handle, like on one side, but it kind of projects out an image, and you could tap it just like you would tap a touch screen, but there is no screen any longer. In the higher, he says, by the way, this is technology you can get used to having in your life pretty soon, because it's all pretty much coming our way. Now, something just happened right when I said that. There was something that like flew in front of me, but it wasn't anything that was there physically, so it's on another plane, but it was like a black something. He says he thinks he saw it too. I think it was just a black fairy. They're like like shadow people, but they're shadow fae. They're are they from a side dimension? He says no, they're from a different dimension though. They're not from here, phasing in and out. They're like literally from another dimension. They're like interdimensional fairy or wee folk. That's pretty cool. Wow, I can't believe I just saw that. It had like little wings. It looked like a sizable insect for a minute. I was like, wow, and then it kind of shocked me out of my head, and then I realized there was nothing there. All right. Oh, I'm learning a secret. When I came up here, guys, my drawer was open. And I know I'm a Virgo. I'm always concerned about dust in my clothes. I never ever keep my doors open. And the cat learned apparently how to open the drawers. And I see her, she's trying to work on it now. I shut it pretty good. I think it was a little bit open. Now she's trying to ask me about it. And she just found one of her toys. This is going to be loud, maybe. She's just all kinds of playing. She's very happy. Anyway, let's get back to the show. Michael, he says, "Oh, my pleasure." So about this blue light, he says, "Yeah, we were very surprised with this energy because it wasn't just a general boosting up of energy. It was a drawing out of energy, and it's not something that we've seen before. Normally, it will be an energy that will help." Okay, so he's showing me that there's like dampening energies that will come out of the Grand Central Sun area, or sometimes like different things from more like the central part of the mass universe. And he says there's like a dampening energy that comes out that will dampen our fighting spirit, our anger, or our righteous indignation, or our willingness to fight with others. So there's like a dampening energy that sometimes pulses that will just put a damper on it. Just stop it. It's like throwing a wet blanket on an angry man. Okay, it might make him angrier, but he says let's change that to like an angry cat. You know, if you have an animal that's very much upset and you throw a blanket over their head gently, they will start to calm down immediately. And so there's energies that pulse wave throughout all. It's not just Earth singled out. It's everybody is getting these energies. So the first energy they've been identifying is a dampening. And the second energy they have identified is a clarifying, where it will just be all of a sudden, woo, everybody gets insights and everyone is clear mentally and they start to see their patterns clearly. And this clarifying, they call it like a tonic energy because it's a clarifying tonic. It's toning up your ability to think and your ability to function and be spiritually aware and be able to recognize what's happening spiritually when it is happening. And then another energy that we have noticed, he's saying, is that so we have the dampening, the clarifying, and the pulse wave, the electromagnetic pulse wave that's really intense, powerful, pure, positive love light. And this love light will just make you tune only into love. And he's saying it's kind of like the idea of which wolf are you going to feed? Are you going to feed the, there's that old parable of there's two wolves inside you. One is evil and one is good. And the one you feed is the one you become. And he says it's kind of based on, or it's what it makes them think of that principle, like this energy of just pure love, pure love, pure love. And it's meant to excite the pure love inside you, the good wolf inside everybody, the good energy that's inside of everybody. So the love energy that's a pulse wave coming out of the grand central sun has been just making us filled with love. And that seems to heal blanket. It's like a blanket that heals everything, and it makes us feel warm and fuzzy inside, just like a blanket, and comfortable. But this last pulse wave that came through in the past couple weeks, and he's saying that there was kind of one that was like a purpley mauve kind of color, and even before that, and that did a whole nother thing. He says we're not going to get into it right now, but that was a whole nother level. But this blue one was like, had the precision of a surgeon's scalpel, and it cut out anything that had been festering there in your emotions and in your mental body, your psychological body. So anything that was creating mental health issues or like trauma, depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, anything that was really intense emotionally, they noticed that this went in and like the match to the sore, it's festering out, it's pulling out and drawing out all of the poison at once. So all of a sudden, all these toxic emotions were readily available, making people feel raw and at the ready to jump on each other's shit, basically, just to jump on, like, why are you in my face? Why are you on my shit? It was that kind of energy, the in your face energy that it resulted in, because it was showing people what they have been, and it was showing people what they have become in some cases, and it was showing other people how you have to not completely trust others with your mental health, because people were jumping, like people would be like normal one day and then this pulse wave would come through and people would be so angry and taking out on each other. But it did give a energy of self-reliance. You can't base your self-esteem on how people are treating you or what they're saying about you, because you don't know what they're going to be saying about you in a week. So if you focus on what you feel about you, what God feels about you, then when these kinds of energies hit from different parts of the universe, it's not going to emotionally devastate you, because you know who you are. And a lot of this was just pulling out negativity in people's bodies that were the negativity that was attributed to emotions that were unexpressed and unacted upon. So that makes sense. So, for example, in grief, I'm sorry, just go ahead. I got distracted. I think I saw an ethereal black cat in here, but my cat went downstairs to bother my son. I'm sure that's what she's doing, just trying to play with him, because I'm not playing with her the way she wants. So I don't know, I think I just lost my track. So this one was very precise, and the precision was really shocking because of what they noticed that people were reporting back to them. People that do channel the Pleiadians were able to say, yeah, I had this thing where I was normal and all of a sudden I felt like a dark cloud descended upon me, and then all of a sudden it drew out all the things I don't need emotionally. And he's saying that there's this tendency to revisit and refeel all those past hurts, and then to accidentally think this is what's going on in me now, when it was really just something that's going on in you that from a long time ago that's now bubbling to the surface, so the bubbles can be released and popped and no more to be found. Just like at the bottom of a soda when it's under a lot of pressure and there's so many bubbles everywhere, and then they go out and eventually they dissipate. And that was kind of what this energy did. It just brought it so powerful to humanity, but it was very specific towards anxiety and speaking to personal power. If you don't feel like you have any, it is especially when it would draw it out. And these energies were, and by the way, I just looked, it was 3355, by the way, just so you know. So these energies were just, it wasn't a wiping out of all the energies. It was a, hey, check it out. We're going to hold up a mirror. We're going to look at these energies, these powers. He says we call them powers sometimes when they have power over you. We call them the powers. And among the Pleiadians, they'll say, oh, it's the powers again. I guess that's a little thing that they say sometimes. He says mostly in the fleets, probably the Pleiadians on the various planets there, they all have a different take on that. But okay, so he's showing me like this came along and it almost coated our bodies like a very thick wool blanket until things were starting to be drawn out in just everything. Like it was just emotional stuff was drawn out, all the psychological stuff, PTSD, all these things were drawn out, but it was also held there like a blanket. So you had a good long week to say, I don't like this emotion. I have to change this emotion. And then the moment you reached like the end of the time period, like, some of these pulse waves were 3 or 4 days, almost like a timestamp. And some of them were like within a week, and everybody released those things at once. Although some people didn't take the hint, didn't catch the memo, and they brought those energies back into their body. So it's going to be a longer road for those people. But so if you were hit by one of these blue culling pulse waves, that's what they're calling it. Here's an example. So say you're going along fine, you get hit by the blue wave, pulse wave, and it goes throughout your whole body and looks for anxiety. And suddenly you feel like you have anxiety in your lungs, for example. And all of a sudden it gets really intense and you have a hard time breathing for like 3 days. But then at the end of the 3 days you go, well, I don't want that anymore. I don't need to keep it. And then you can just breathe it away. But now you feel like you're cold from that emotion. So, for example, somebody who I don't know, I just got like 10 or 20 different ideas at once. Sorry, guys. It's so hard to focus on one when you have 20 going on. So, go ahead, explain that again. So, say you have severe anxiety or PTSD, and this will come and hang with you for 5 days. And then for 5 days, your anxiety is a million times worse. Your PTSD is really, really bad. But after 5 days of that intensity, more so than you normally get, hello, darling, what happens is you say, well, I don't like this at all. I don't like the anxiety of this at all. I don't like the trauma or the PTSD. And I know what it's from, but now I see different angles to it because it's being held up under a magnifying glass in front of me. And I have made a decision that I no longer need this. And then when the pulse wave is set out for anxiety and say anxiety is a 3-day process, the pulse wave will go away after 3 days. But say a pulse wave was sent out for post-traumatic stress disorder and the grand central sun, which is like you could imagine, it's like the brain of God, or like the headquarters of where all of this stems. Say it's a 5 or 6 day process. So that will be for post-traumatic stress disorder, and it'll resonate with that vibration of post-traumatic stress disorder. And then it will hang there in the air like a thick blanket over your body for 5 or 6 days until you say, I don't want this anymore. I want to break free. I want to break free. and then you break free, and then the pulse wave is released. It's no longer being beamed at you anymore. The blanket energy is not around you anymore. It just stops being like a dull gray blue and turns into a very precise, clear, perfect blue. And then like a surgeon's scalpel is just cut out of you. And you'll feel like a hole where that used to be. And what we're noticing with these in the later half of, say, a 6-day cycle, maybe like day 5, you'll start to see emerald green light or start to come in, or a pink light. And you could even see this in your aurora borealis in the past several weeks, where there was like a magenta, a lime green, and emerald green that was darker. And all these energies are coming in, and it's exciting the upper atmosphere ions, so you see it physically. But we've been able to scan this with our scanners and see that this is happening also in the human body. Remember, as above, so below. As below, so above. So you'll have like a 5 or 6 day anti-post-traumatic stress disorder, energy which resonates identical to that stress, to that trauma. And then it will resonate and just hang there like a wah, 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 wah sort of energy, like just a really intense, powerful, it's almost like if you have a sensitivity to electricity and you're being forced to live next to a really huge electric tower, for example. And what happens is with this, you eventually, after a week, you decide, I don't want to live next to the tower anymore. And then you start to walk away, and it's almost like a magnet because the tower has pulled that negative energy out of you, and you walk away and it's being ripped from your existence, from your psyche, from your body. It's almost like the toxins were drawn out, and now it's time to relax into the new higher octave of who you are without that low negative vibration and negative energy hanging around you like an anchor, dragging you down and pulling you in the undercurrents. And you're able to bob along the top, the surface of that wave. Hey, kitty cat. She's like really active right now. Usually she listens to my voice and she's relaxed. So, all right. So anything else about that? Yeah, as above, so below. So anytime you see any beautiful extra in the aurora borealis, that's usually the energies that are being sent with these culling energies. And we see that after the cloudiness, it gets very, very clear and almost cold, and it'll just cut it out of your body, all of that negativity, no matter where it is, whether it's in your stomach or your lungs or your head. All of a sudden you'll just feel like this was being purged in a heartbeat. Hello, darling. I don't know why she was made. That was weird timing. Hey. She's upset that she can't reach my, she got really upset that she couldn't. She tried to jump towards my dream catchers I have on the wall. And these were dream catchers that were made in the Peruvian Amazon and by the Native American tribes there, the South American tribes. And they live like their ancestors for thousands of years. And we went and visited them. And so I don't want her to grab them. Obviously, there's special power in these, and there's little parrot feathers that are really colorful and beautiful from the birds there. And I know she wants it so bad. She wants to chew on these feathers. And she got one off the wall the other day, so I had to put it higher up on the wall. So that's what she was just meowing about. And she got insulted that she can't reach it anymore, and she has to grow quite a bit before she can grab what's there now. So she just went downstairs. She's like, oh, screw it, I'm out of here. She'll be back. I know she always comes back. And when I'm ready to go to bed, she'll come and cuddle with me after her pre-nap violence. Where she attacks me a bunch of times and scratches me a little bit. It's always an accident. And then she'll bite me a little bit, and then she'll be like, okay, fine. Then she'll purr and everything's fine. Anyway, that's a familiar report right in the middle of my channeling, but she did say it. Ooh, I looked, and again, 4433. So there's your other number. So there you go. All right. So anything else about that? He says, nope, we just wanted to tell you guys about what we've been observing. So you're not crazy. If you think that it's funny, you're going along in life, everything's great, and then all of a sudden you're raging and you're so angry and it's festering for 3 or 4 days, and then all of a sudden it feels like it's been cut out of you and you don't know what happened. Well, what happened to my anger? Don't try to glom back onto it. Don't try to grab it. Just let it go and be grateful. And this has been happening with a lot of you with all these different energies. of what is already inside you. So when a drawing or calling energy comes, when it's meant to draw out like a poultice, you might want to call it a poultice pulse wave. I like that, poultice pulse wave. Cosmic poultice pulse wave, he says. He says when these have been coming a lot in the past 3 weeks. They don't know what's going to happen in the future, but that's what they've noticed. And so prepare to be healed a lot from the past 2 or 3 weeks on through the next several months. He's saying don't hesitate to use the healing grid that the thousands of light workers have placed beneath our feet, basically. He says he's even tapped into that energy of the healing grid to see what it was about, and he was mightily impressed, and has helped hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions already. So he's saying if the pulse waves coming from the grand central sun get to be too much, you could always hook into the magnetic healing grid beneath your feet, and that will neutralize anything that you decide you truly cannot handle. He's saying also vanilla. If you have like vanilla extract, if you put in an atomizer with a lot of water and a little bit of the vanilla extract, and just spritz that around your head and your face and your neck, it will take care of the energy if it gets too heavy for you. And this could be your personal little atomizer that you can make out of vanilla and water. But he says you can use just a normal spray bottle if you don't want it fancy, or you can use an old empty perfume bottle if you have it, or anything in between, whatever suits you. Even if you just mix it in a glass and splash it on your face with your fingers, that will help you feel very comfortable on the days when the energies feel so overwhelming and so cosmical. So that's it. He's like, that's it. That's all we had to say about that. He says it's short and sweet this time, but we wanted to let you know that you're not crazy with all the emotions that have been flying around lately. There are reasons why. And it's not you. It's not that you're backsliding. It's not that you're going back to your former ways. It's not like you suddenly are no longer any more spiritual. It's nothing that any of you would have come up with, where all of a sudden you're moody, or all of a sudden you're having sickness, and then, or emotional or mental illness out of nowhere, and then when you're done, it just goes away, So they just wanted us to know that it's in existence this way, that it's almost like a fail-safe, or because can you imagine if you had to deal with that energy for the next 30, 40, 50 years as soon as you discovered it? I can't wait to, oh gosh, I'm going to be 120, So, it's nice to have little tiny updates. He's saying, oh, okay, no, he's asking me, I'm sorry, that was odd. No, he says, it's nice to have little tiny updates, so if all you starseeds out there want to help Ashtar, you could say, hey, I just felt sad for 3 days, but I feel like it's gone now, so thank you. So he will record these stories, so you could just say, hey, Ashtar, hey, Commander, whatever you want to say, and then just follow it up with, I had this energy, I had this depression for 3 weeks, and then it felt like a fog lifted, now I'm better. And just give them the dates if you can. they want to monitor everything. He says, yeah, we're big brothers, but in a positive way. We want to be loving and sweet big brothers. And how else to do that than to help you guys? And so we have beams and rays of light that we send to you guys in the sunshine, during the day. And you could hold this energy pattern inside your bodies. He's showing me that they send us energetic patterns, not just rays of light and hope, but there's energy and energetic patterns. But not everyone can read them, so you're going to have to ask them for what that was. Can you repeat that? I got the pattern. I don't know what it was. Can you repeat it so the people in the back can hear? I'm just kidding. He's showing me that you just tell the Pleiadians what's been going on with you, and they could plot it and they could help people better. And I don't know, that's it. Just if you're a starseed or you want to get in contact with Michael Sherhan, just ask. And a lot of times it'll be almost instantaneous. So, all right, I'm being overwhelmingly affected by this energy. I need to go, but okay, having a hard time keeping my third eye open, let alone my physical eyes. So wow, yeah. Through my third eye while we're talking, I saw a dog. It would look like it was really there. Now I realize, obviously, there's no dog in here. So, all right, wow. So that's it. He says, well, that's all for now. He says, we're going to continue to monitor the earth and send you guys positive rays of sunshine energy, just because we want you all to get through this stuff really rapidly and ascend really rapidly. We love you all. We always will, and we'll always be at the side of humanity. And he's saying, that's it for now. That's all she wrote, basically. He's saying, that's all he wrote. So he says, thank you for being an open-minded person and for listening to this message that somehow was convoluted, and I hope I got the messages across. But he says there's so much going on with the realm of auras and he's almost like he's showing me staff fighting. I don't know what that means. Oh no, he's saying that you could become super ninjas with this energy. Like when the energy that comes like a blanket, you could fight it off just by acknowledging that emotion or acknowledging that trauma that happened. Just acknowledge it. And that's how you get out of it faster. But anyway, now show me another image of rainbow colored lids. He says if you have to contain something, imagine you're containing it with a rainbow, like a rainbow colored lid. I don't know what that means though. I know it's a metaphor for something else. Oh, he says, so if there's a lot of things in your life, you can't really label it. You don't know what's going on. Like, that's a weird energy. Just, put a rainbow colored lid on it. Let all the colors of the rainbow swirl and work its magic and neutralize it or transmute and transform it, whatever it is. That's what oh, okay. Oh, I know that sounded so strange. But he's also showing me a spray bottle of fine mist. He's saying a lot of you are still putting alcohol on all your stuff because of COVID-19. And if you can imagine that mist or the spray is filled with rainbows, tiny rainbows. They're like fractals. And that's also breaking up the toxin and negative patterns in your environment. That's a visualization that they could get behind. And if you want, the Pleiadians will send you other tips and other information. Just ask at night. Just say, what else do you guys have for me? And then go to sleep. And you'll probably have a dream about them. And they'll tell you what solution you might need for whatever thing that you're going through. He says nothing too complicated, but if you're a starseed or not, they're here to help. We are here to help. We love you all. We love humanity. Again, this is Michael Sherhan of Ashtar Command and the Pleiadian Light Forces and the Galactic Federation of Light. I love each and every one of you, and I wish you to always enjoy the good life and have a happy ascension. Peace. So the end of transmission. All right, guys, I was getting a little bit tired towards the end there. That was very intense information because he kept sending me scenarios, words, pictures, and images, and then also wanting to talk in real time. So I'm kind of like in environmental hypnosis right now because I'm like, woo, little bit. That was overwhelmingly dizzying. But I hope you guys get it. I love you guys so much. Don't forget that nothing on God's green earth lasts forever. And that's a good thing. So if you're having a negative emotion, it does not last forever. The anxiety, the PTSD, the whatever it is, will clear up. Blue skies are going to come out. Or the sun will come out tomorrow. That's what Annie said. In the play Annie. It's just going to be okay. And all of this is, just for our benefit. Anyway, I love you guys. I love each and every one of you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your continued faith and faith in and confidence in my abilities. Thank you so much for everything. For those of you who are forwarding to your friends and sharing the show, thank you. My numbers are very slowly starting to go back up again. I just wanted to say thank you for your help and your continued help. And I'm going to be here as long as humanly possible. And so I just wanted to thank you for helping me direct a little bit of traffic my way, so we can get our sponsor back and keep going. Anyway, well, that's it for now. I will be back tomorrow with all unique and original programming, just like always. But until then, I'm signing off with peace and joy and the high vibes of the Holy Fifth Dimension. Until next time, guys, peace. Metaphysical Soul Speak is run on sponsors and listener support. This means listeners like you. If you are so inclined to support my efforts and my little podcast, please visit me at anchor.fm/metaphysical and pledge an amount of your choosing today. Thank you.